Hi, good afternoon everybody. I've just seen an item on the internet which was a song that I really liked of Graham's, probably one of my favourites, Love's Not For Me, and Paul McNulty, who's done a programme looking at the top 200 songs of 10cc, and he's done a wonderful job. And he covered this song which brought back memories to me of how it came about, which is purely coincidental because the producer of the film Animal Olympics was called Steven Lisberger, and it had the name H. Lisberg in, which was my name. And I contacted him and he got together and he let Graham do the soundtrack for the film, and it's been a wonderful film, and the song Love's Not For Me is definitely one of Graham's classics. I relate to it a lot, and I think it discusses Graham's feeling at the time about his life and how his love for music seemed to overtake everything else. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy it. I thought it's worthwhile putting on so everybody can see it. Thank you.
And one of the characters in the film was a French marathon runner whose name was Rene. And the thing about Rene was that he decided that he had no place in his life for any emotional attachments, no love. All he wanted to concentrate on was winning. And his song is called Love's Not For Me.
I've always run away from things that tie me down. My life I love, but love's not for me. I see my goal ahead with nothing in the way. If love should come, then I'll run away.
At number 35, I've got Love's Not For Me, Rene's song by Graham. It's one of his most beautiful ballads. This is equally strong musically and lyrically. There are many other songs about choosing between a partner and a mistress, not so many where the choice is actually between a wife and a muse. Just to be clear, Graham's muse isn't another woman, but music itself, and spoiler alert, music wins. I mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. Around this time, Graham, I think, finds a new lyrical voice. Both the collaborations with and the laboratory experiments of Kevin and Lowell's 10cc are now behind him. He's also pulling back from writing with Eric, and he's penning his most important songs alone. Soon the consequences of the decision made in Love's Not For Me will be heard in lots of other personal lyrics like I Hate To Eat Alone, Don't Ask, Survivor, and things like that. But this song is about the crux of the matter. I guess it's coming to terms with what one really wants or needs the most.
I've always run away from things that tie me down. My life I love, but love's not for me.
But the lyrics, they're only part of the song. The music is exquisite as well. At the larger level, the song is kind of arch-shaped. There's no chorus as such. What we've got is 3 verses separated by 2 contrasting sections. We'll call them bridges, although that kind of downplays their role in terms of the song because they carry as much weight, emotional weight to the song as the verses, perhaps even more. So we get verse, bridge, verse, bridge, verse, and the middle of those verses is instrumental, so you've got this symmetrical arch shape.
If I must sacrifice to realize my destiny. I'll pay the price, love's not for me.
Construction-wise, there's some typical Gouldman gambits in place. For example, there's yet another introduction, pretty guitar introduction. Starts on the tonic, just like the verse does, but this introduction explores chords, a harmonic direction, which remains unused by the body of the song. He does that so many times. The minor key verse moves to the parallel major for the start of the chorus. That's another keynote move, but there's some really extra subtle things going on here. Both the verse and the second half of the bridge are very similar. They're driven by the powerful momentum of what's known as the circle of fifths progression.
I've always run away from things that tie me down to his cause, and it's a lonely road I run, but I'll stay faithful to my cause. There's only...
In fact, when you look at the chords to the verse and the second half of that bridge, which sound quite different on the surface, they're actually constructed in a really similar way. But that brings me to what I think is the song's secret weapon, which is the first half of the bridge. And melodically, it flows with the rest of the song very naturally. It's a bit that goes, there comes a time when you must choose the path you're going to take. But harmonically, this first bit of the bridge is something of an interpeller. The bass that was generating all that momentum in the verse is suddenly reined in, and it's static. And above that, you've got broken chords swinging this way and that, but they're quickly drawn back to their starting point. So we're temporarily becalmed in the first half of this bridge. Then, during the second half of the bridge, music surges forward because that circle of fifths progression re-establishes itself.
There comes a time when you must choose about the path you're gonna take, and you must take it win or lose, and if you lose it's your mistake. There's only one direction.
So as a consequence of that, those simple lines that sit above those moments of the song, and it's a lonely road I run, or the other occurrence over that music of the lyric is, and you must take it, win or lose. They're imbued with a real sense of power as a result. It's a great moment.
There comes a time when you must choose about the path you're gonna take, and you must take it, win or lose, and if you lose it's your mistake. There's only one direction.
Instrumentally, this is built around Graham's acoustic guitar, as I think it is fitting for such a personal song. There's a little oral sightseeing, if you like, added by Mike Timoney's accordion. Mike Timoney, a 10cc acolyte of some vintage, he played on the Hot Legs album, for example. But, you know, what do you expect? Rene Fromage is French. As well as this being a really personal song, it is a song written to order for a specific scene in a film, so that instrumentation is absolutely fine. Jimmy Haskell's strings are unobtrusively there in the arrangement as well. And note how there's a long hanging string line over the bridge's first half. That's underscoring that feeling of stasis of the chords that I mentioned earlier. Speaking of that accordion, I've heard a couple of people separately remark that this song reminds them of Elton John's Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word. And that's a compliment, I guess. I mean, there is a resemblance in feel, but the architecture of the two songs are actually pretty different. And I'd argue that Graham's song is the more inventive and mysterious of the two. So, from one of the happiest and most positive albums that I know of, the Animal Olympics soundtrack album, we have the irony that the only song to have a life outside of that album is the single sad one. And Love's Not For Me is a favourite of Graham's. It's a real sleeper piece, and its reputation grows year on year.